Imagine this. A 20-year-old young woman from an illustrious American family marrying her distant cousin in a lavish ceremony in New York, uniting two powerful branches of the Roosevelts. But behind the smiles and vows lies a deep unhappiness, infidelities, lost intimacy, and a political partnership forged on broken hearts. If you think strategic marriages are relics of the past, think again. They have sculpted American dynasties, destroyed personal fortunes, and left scars on the nation's history. Welcome to broken vows, marriages that shaped or shattered legacies. Hold on, because in the next few minutes, we'll dive into American unions that changed the course of America. And if you leave now, you'll miss the twists that shook presidencies and laws. Stay with me and discover how a simple yes can hide an ocean of suffering.
The voice should be deep and captivating, with a dramatic narrative tone that captivates the listener from the first seconds, blending suspense, emotion, and a touch of mystery to make the historical narratives irresistible. Let's start with this 1905 marriage, which embodies the theme of our exploration, an alliance that masks unhappiness while forging a monumental legacy. In March 1905, in New York, Eleanor Roosevelt, age 20, marries her fifth cousin, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, then age 23. This marriage unites the Oyster Bay and Hyde Park branches of the Roosevelt family, strengthening their political and social influence. Theodore Roosevelt, Eleanor's uncle and President of the United States, walks the bride down the aisle, adding prestige to the event. At first glance, it's an ideal union, two young people from the elite sharing progressive values. But unhappiness looms quickly. In 1918, Eleanor discovers Franklin's affair with Lucy Mercer, her social secretary.
Devastated, she offers a divorce. Sarah Delano Roosevelt, Franklin's mother, vehemently opposes it, fearing a scandal that would ruin her son's political career. The couple stays married, but their relationship becomes a platonic partnership, devoid of romantic intimacy. Eleanor develops her own identity, becoming an activist for women's and minorities' rights. Franklin pursues his career, becoming governor of New York and then president in 1933. This strategic marriage masks Eleanor's personal unhappiness, marked by loneliness and betrayal. Yet, it shapes the American legacy. Together, they guide the United States through the Great Depression and World War II. The New Deal, influenced by Eleanor's social ideas, transforms the economy and society. After Franklin's death in 1945, Eleanor continues as a UN delegate, drafting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This marriage shattered Eleanor's intimate life, but shaped the nation's fortune.
Historians still debate, was she a victim or an essential partner? This case shows how strategic unions in America hide personal tragedies, impacting national legacies. Let's continue with another strategic marriage that marked American and British fortunes, that of Consuelo Vanderbilt and the 9th Duke of Marlborough in 1895. Although slightly before 1905, this union perfectly illustrates the American dollar princesses. Consuelo, heiress to the Vanderbilt fortune from railroads, is 18 years old. Her mother, Alva Vanderbilt, ambitious and domineering, arranges the marriage to obtain a noble title. The Duke, Charles Spencer Churchill, needs money to save the indebted Blenheim Palace. Consuelo opposes it. She loves another man, Winthrop Rutherford. Alva confines her, fakes a heart condition to guilt her. The wedding takes place on November 6, 1895, at St. Thomas Church in New York. The dowry, $2.5 million, equivalent to $100 million today, plus stocks. The ceremony is sumptuous, with flowers everywhere, but Consuelo cries under her veil. From the honeymoon, the Duke admits he loves another woman and married for money.
The couple lives separately most of the time.
They have 2 sons, John, future Duke, and Ivor. Consuelo suffers isolation in England, far from her family. In 1906, official separation, divorce in 1921, annulled by the Vatican in 1926. Consuelo then marries Jacques Balsan, a French aviator, and finds happiness. This marriage shaped the legacy of Blenheim Palace, restored thanks to Vanderbilt money. But it shattered Consuelo's youth, marked by maternal coercion. It symbolizes transatlantic unions where American money saves British aristocracy. Decades later, the story inspires series like The Gilded Age. Now let's move to a union that shook the British monarchy, but involving an American, Wallis Simpson and Edward VIII in 1937. Wallis Warfield Simpson, born in 1896 in Pennsylvania, is a twice-divorced socialite. She meets Edward, then Prince of Wales, in 1931 through mutual friends. Edward falls in love. Wallis divorces her second husband, Ernest Simpson, in 1936. When George V dies in 1936, Edward becomes king. He wants to marry Wallis, but the Church of England, of which he is head, forbids remarriage of divorcees. The British government opposes. A divorced queen would cause a scandal. Edward proposes a morganatic marriage, no title for Wallis, refused. On December 11, 1936, Edward abdicates after 326 days of reign.
His brother becomes George VI, father of Elizabeth II. Edward, now Duke of Windsor, marries Wallis on June 3, 1937, at Château de Condé in France. No royal family member attends. It's an intimate ceremony. The couple lives in exile, traveling between France and the United States. Wallis dominates the relationship. Edward is devoted. Rumors of Nazi sympathies tarnish their legacy. Edward dies in 1972, Wallis in 1986. This marriage shattered the monarchy, first voluntary abdication in England. It shaped history, stabilized the crown under George VI during the war. For Wallis, an ambitious American, it's a personal triumph masking the loneliness of exile. It illustrates how a strategic union can alter imperial dynasties. Now let's explore a marriage that transformed American laws, Mildred and Richard Loving in 1958. Mildred Jeter, of African American and Native American descent, meets Richard Loving, white, in rural Virginia. They date from adolescence. Mildred gets pregnant at 18. In June 1958, they marry in Washington, D.C., where interracial marriages are legal. Back in Virginia, the anti-miscegenation law criminalizes them. On July 11, 1958, police arrest them at home. Sentenced to 1 year in prison, suspended if they leave the state for 25 years. Exiled to Washington, they miss their family. In 1963, Mildred writes to Robert Kennedy. The ACLU takes their case. Loving v. Virginia reaches the Supreme Court. On June 12, 1967, unanimous decision. Anti-interracial marriage laws unconstitutional. Violation of equality and freedom to marry. This overturns laws in 16 states.
The Lovings return to Virginia, raise 3 children. Richard dies in 1975 in an accident, Mildred in 2008. This marriage shaped civil rights, legalized interracial unions nationwide. It shattered racial barriers, masking the unhappiness of forced exile. Their story inspires films and commemorations, like Loving Day. Finally, let's examine the marriage of Jacqueline Kennedy and Aristotle Onassis in 1968. Jackie, widow of JFK, assassinated in 1963, seeks security for her children. Aristotle Onassis, 62-year-old Greek magnate, offers protection and wealth. They marry on October 20, 1968, on the private island of Scorpios. Intimate Orthodox ceremony. Caroline and John Jr. participate. The public is shocked. Jackie goes from First Lady to Jackie O. The marriage is transactional, security for prestige. Onassis, 23 years older, has an affair with Maria Callas. Jackie spends extravagantly, causing arguments. They often live separately, Jackie in New York, Onassis traveling. Aristotle dies in 1975. Jackie inherits $26 million. She becomes an editor at Viking and Doubleday. This marriage shaped her image, from iconic widow to independent woman, but it shattered her intimacy, masking loneliness and paparazzi.
Illustrates post-tragedy strategic unions in the American elite. To delve deeper, consider the marriage of Abigail and John Adams in 1764. Abigail Smith, 19, marries John Adams, an ambitious lawyer. Union based on intellectual respect, not arranged but strategic for John. Abigail manages the farm during John's absences, diplomat, president. Their letters reveal an egalitarian partnership, rare for the time. Abigail influences John's ideas on women's rights. Remember the ladies, she writes in 1776. Their marriage lasts 54 years, 4 children, including John Quincy Adams, future president. It shapes the founding legacy. John signs the Declaration of Independence, but masks the unhappiness of long separations, causing anxiety. Abigail dies in 1818, John in 1826. This partnership forged the nascent nation. Another example, Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott in 1953. Coretta, a music student, marries MLK, an emerging pastor. Strategic union for the civil rights movement. Coretta raises 4 children, manages the home during MLK's activism. After MLK's assassination in 1968, she continues his legacy, establishes the King Center, pushes for MLK Day. Their marriage masks constant dangers and stress. It shapes the fight for racial equality, shattered by violence but enduring in impact. Let's continue with the marriage of Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera in 1929, influencing American art.
Frida, Mexican, but their union impacts the U.S. art scene. Diego, married twice before, sees Frida as a muse. Tumultuous marriage, infidelities, including with Frida's sister. Divorce in 1939, remarry in 1940. Frida suffers physically and emotionally. Yet their partnership boosts their careers. Exhibitions in New York, Frida becomes an icon. This marriage shapes modern art, masking personal pain. It shattered Frida's mental health, but legacy endures. Back to purely American figures, the marriage of Bill and Hillary Clinton in 1975. Strategic union for political ambitions. Met at Yale, simple wedding in Arkansas. Bill's infidelities, scandals like Monica Lewinsky. Hillary stays, becomes senator, secretary of state, presidential candidate. Their partnership shapes democratic politics. Masks personal unhappiness like public humiliation. Shattered reputations, but enduring power couple. Another, marriage of Donald and Melania Trump in 2005. Melania Naus, Slovenian model, marries the real estate magnate. Union seen as strategic for image. Extravagant wedding at Mar-a-Lago. Melania becomes First Lady in 2017. Rumors of distance but public support. Shapes Trump's controversial legacy. Masks potential unhappiness, impact on immigration policies. To close, these American marriages show how strategic unions forge or break legacies. From Eleanor's masked unhappiness to the Loving's legal victory. They impact national fortunes from presidency to civil rights.
Frida, Mexican, but their union impacts the U.S. art scene. Diego, married twice before, sees Frida as a muse. Tumultuous marriage, infidelities, including with Frida's sister. Divorce in 1939, remarry in 1940. Frida suffers physically and emotionally. Yet their partnership boosts their careers. Exhibitions in New York, Frida becomes an icon. This marriage shapes modern art, masking personal pain. It shattered Frida's mental health, but legacy endures. Back to purely American figures, the marriage of Bill and Hillary Clinton in 1975.
Strategic union for political ambitions. Met at Yale. Simple wedding in Arkansas. Bill's infidelities. Scandals like Monica Lewinsky. Hillary stays, becomes senator, secretary of state, presidential candidate. Their partnership shapes democratic politics. Masks personal unhappiness, like public humiliation. Shattered reputations, but enduring power couple. Another, marriage of Donald and Melania Trump in 2005. Melania Knaus, Slovenian model, marries the real estate magnate. Union seen as strategic for image. Extravagant wedding at Mar-a-Lago. Melania becomes First Lady in 2017. Rumors of distance, but public support. Shapes Trump's controversial legacy. Masks potential unhappiness, impact on immigration policies. To close, these American marriages show how strategic unions forge or break legacies. From Eleanor's masked unhappiness to the Loving's legal victory. They impact national fortunes, from presidency to civil rights.